Hello, everybody. It is September 15th, 2025. You're watching the Dovecote with SabrinaTVBand. Sabrina, say hello and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm SabrinaTVBand, also known as Sloan TV Band.
Hell yeah. Where might people know you from?
I don't know, Blue Sky.
Yeah.
I've posted some stuff on Read Only Mind. I'm on itch.io. I'm around.
Hell yeah. I'm directing people towards your Patreon. I think that's where we're gonna go check out Sabrina's Patreon. I saw that speaking of Sloan TV Band, your other
Yeah.
moniker. I saw that you had finished. Did you finish Sloan Lone? Or sorry, I think you were advertising today the final chapter of Sloan Lone. But it's been done for a bit, right?
Yeah, just hold on a sec.
No worries, take your time.
Yeah, I actually the last chapter of the book just went live earlier today, so this is a good time to join the Patreon because you can read the whole book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you want to tell folks a bit about that? A bit about that work?
Yeah, so it's a book that I've been working on the better part of 3 years. I started it when I still lived in Houston. I now live in Portugal, so it's been following me for a long time. I haven't been working on it actively the whole time. There have been periods of inactivity, but it's essentially the story of a guy who's just graduated from college and he kind of sucks. But the one thing about him that kind of doesn't suck is that he plays guitar. And a sort of an aging rock musician in her 60s who's a trans chaser uh, decides to basically have him kidnapped and turned into a replica of herself when she was young. So that's the premise of the book.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I remember I've read some of the book. I haven't gotten around to a lot of the recent stuff you've been doing with it though. Um, but what I read was really great. I really enjoyed it.
Thanks.
Yeah. Um, and then the other thing that folks might know you from is Need Ozma, your blog slash critique site. How would you characterize it?
It's kind of supposed to be like a trans femme media criticism site, uh, where all of the contributors are trans feminine, but not necessarily the content they're critiquing. And yeah.
Hell yeah. Um, yeah, I've enjoyed what I've read there. I remember gosh, what was it was probably an earlier one that I but
Is it the extreme strong female characters piece?
maybe um you've definitely written some really fun. Do you have a favorite piece that you've worked on for that?
I think that one is actually probably the most quote unquote important one,
Hmm.
because a couple of people said, "Wow, this put into words something that I've thought or subconsciously felt but never verbalized or had explained to me."
Hell yeah.
Um, so uh, it's messy. It's such a, I guess, big thing to wrap one's head around, and it could use more work. So I'd like to do a revised edition, but yeah, I think it's a good piece.
Awesome. Something that I really appreciate um about like I think specifically Need Ozma is that you're kind of I hope you don't take offense to this, but it has kind of an aughts sensibility to my eye. Just in like some of the things that you cover.
Yeah, that's just, I don't keep up with the latest stuff happening most of the time.
I think that's good.
Um, yeah, there needs to just be coverage of, there needs to be retrospectives about things, just revisiting stuff and seeing if it holds up or if it didn't hold up.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I think that there is like perhaps a. I mean, I think this is especially true in teacher G's, and I'm perhaps perhaps sometimes guilty of this. That there is a recency bias. Um, yeah. Um, is there anything that you've thought about covering on Neo Ozma that you like haven't hit on yet?
Um, well, I mean, as far as pieces that are being worked on right now, I have a piece that I want to have go live on the 22nd about Showgirls and the Sucker Punch.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, it's the 30th anniversary of Showgirls and Sucker Punch. I think Sucker Punch is a good movie. Um, that kind of is unfairly criticized in many ways. It's not it's not nearly as good as Showgirls, and so it almost feels like an insult to Showgirls for its anniversary piece to share the space with Sucker Punch. But I don't know. I just couldn't find out how to talk about Showgirls without just raving about it and being inarticulate. So
As someone who has not seen either movie but is kind of aware of their cultural roles, I think there's something to be said about the way that like um two dudes decided to make movies like two genre dudes decided to make movies about uh women in kind of like hyper visible precarity and were kind of seen only as perverse in that pursuit. Am I correct in that, or am I off base?
you're for someone who hasn't seen either movie, you're really kind of getting it, because they are films that I think are very thematically similar because they're about uh, sort of the exploitation of women to some
Mhm.
degree, the both of them. And there are sort of parallels that extend beyond what's obvious, like beyond the text of the films, which, like you said, the directors are both genre guys, and the directors are both guys, which to begin with made people view the films as being deviant in kind of an uncharitable way. And I'll sort of let you ask another question or something in a sec.
No, yeah, good.
Something, the part of the piece that I've already written is sort of about the MPAA, because both films had rating struggles, but in different ways. So Showgirls was an NC-17 film, and people know that it was an experiment to see if you could release an NC-17 film and make money. But what people don't know is it was actually a Herculean effort to even get theaters to play the movie. Because they had to send VHS content reels to theater chains that said this is the most objectionable content in the movie.
Wild.
And Sucker Punch, Zack Snyder wanted it to be PG-13 so that teenage girls could see it. And basically, there was a sex scene in the movie where the protagonist, who's kind of a ambiguously aged teenage girl who could be, I guess, like 17 or something, she consents to having sex with an adult. And the MPAA would actually only let them do the scene if the implication was that she was getting raped.
Oh. Huh.
And so they just removed the entire scene.
Jeez.
So just the MPAA fucking sucks, but you know, that's not news.
Yeah, that's super interesting. Like,
Yeah.
that. Yeah, yeah. Like, gosh, I gotta. I gotta be cautious in the words that I say next. But I do think like, that it had to be more violent to get the rating that I wanted is like crazy.
You know, there's a film, The Craft, where the film was made to be PG-13, so there's no gratuitous gore. I mean, it's a horror movie, you know,
Mm-hmm.
And it's really quite sedate on a content level. I mean, like the emotions run high, but it's not, you know, super violent. And the film got rated R, and they said, "Hey, what happened here?" And the MPA was like, "Well, these girls are like willingly practicing witchcraft, which gives an R rating by default."
Huh. You have to be forced to practice witchcraft to get.
I mean, honestly, even if they'd been forced, it maybe also would have. But it's a ridiculous thing. Like, if there are teenage girls who are doing witchcraft, it's R. You know?
Yeah. Speaking of teenage girls, potentially teenage. I mean, it really depends. Girls doing witchcraft. Goth Witch's Teacher is
Yeah.
pretty fucking cool. I remember. I feel like this is one of the first things of yours that you showed me, and I really, first of all, just like really fun art. I think a thing that I have not mentioned here is that your art style is like really fucking fun and like there's a it's I mean it's perverse, but I say that as like, I say that as a compliment, right?
Yeah.
I really enjoy that quality of it. And I remember just really liking the kind of in-depth adventure-y vibe to this. The sort of deep in the weeds fucking goth witch show shit is really fun.
Yeah, it's my the craft game.
Mm.
But the thing is, and I think I explained this in the forward of the game or something. Is The Craft is really a downward spiral movie, and if you did it as a teacher RPG, it would be like a one-session story game where you see, I guess, the specific way that everything falls apart.
Right, yeah.
So I had to change it to be like, if there was a Craft TV show, then what would you do? And so it's more of a comedy, really.
If there was a craft TV show in the sense that there's like a Ghostbusters TV show. That's
You know,
a
yeah,
little
I mean, there actually almost was a Craft TV show, but then, those bastards made the Charmed TV show, and
fuck,
they they couldn't make the Craft show after that.
they
Yeah.
ruined it. That's fucked up. Um,
Yeah.
something not to fucking speed between things you've done recently. I guess Goth Witches isn't as recent, but I've been really enjoying your Spider-Man comics, the Spider Queen of Manhattan, Spider Woman comics, I suppose. Or how
Yeah,
would you
those
describe
are
what is a Spider-Man who's a woman who's not Spider Woman?
yeah, Spider Queen of Manhattan's a totally unrelated thing. But the Spider Woman comics. So I was like, uh, just
Oh, I'm stupid. You're right. That is a different thing. Oops. Sorry about that.
I, yeah, I was just like, what if there was a dyke gender Spider Woman, and so of course she has Joan Jett's haircut,
Mhm.
which is vital, important, integral, and yeah, because I mean, I don't know, like the Spider Woman from the Ultimate Comics. Do you know what I'm referring to when I say that?
I think so. Is that the one who's like the one who got transed?
There basically there was an alternate universe Spider-Man continuity, and in that continuity, like Spider-Man gets cloned, and they make a female-bodied clone of all of his memories,
Okay. Yeah.
and somewhat mysterious implications of this. But she decides to just stay a woman. And
Good.
anyways, but yeah, that always is like, okay, so you have this person who's been a guy their whole life who, you know, kind of is maybe like more non-binary, like I don't know, but they basically sort of have this very femme aesthetic, and it uh kind of just rings false to me. And so I'm like, let me do my take on Spider-Woman, where it's like the character actually isn't trans, but just I don't know, just make it more dyke,
She's just a dyke.
yeah,
She's just
just
having fun.
yeah, and um yeah, and that this is one of those disappointing things, but that seems to get way more attention than anything else I do. The strip that I'm doing, because if it's fan art, then people really care about it.
Yeah, that is I think eternally the problem is like you are going to get more flies with fan art and like pastiche
Yeah,
and stuff than original
yeah,
work. Um,
yeah,
but I think that I think you need to make original work to not go completely fucking insane. At least that's been my experience of it.
yeah. I'm going to I think try and see how long I can do a strip every day, but
Oh hell yeah,
it's a side thing.
yeah, that's fun. Um, would let me see here. Um, Quack, 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 quack. Oh yeah, I have some things that we vaguely discussed talking about. Um, would you like to talk about some of the games that you're working on?
Yeah, so working is a very loose term because my plate is I, I'm always working on too many things, and so the progress is really glacial on these.
Hmm.
Um, but there are two games that I would like to actually. One of them, I guess, I kind of need to get at least some version of by the end of the year for a bundle that I'm in. Um, that's like that year's TTRPGs.
Yeah.
But one of the games is going to be about gangster dykes, um, and it's going to kind of be like a made RPG clone where there is a like mob boss character, and the
Mhm.
player characters sort of get jobs and they have to do them. But because of the nature of sort of mafia work being like complicated, the sort of random events are going to have to be a lot more detailed in terms of like what kind of money laundering you're doing and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah, that's fun. I like that. I think anyone trying to make like a made RPG type game has my attention just because of the sort of absurd things that I've heard about that game.
Yeah. And the other game I'm working on is called Evil Woman Take Over the World.
Mhm.
Um, and basically, uh, what was I gonna say? Um, so like, it's going to be a dice pool game, kind of taking after the West End Games D6 stuff. Basically, like, also actually sort of similar to Made RPG, but
Hmm.
in a very, very loose way, where you have, you know, a boss character and the player characters are like her superpowered hench woman, you know,
Fun.
and you take over. I say the world, but just because it would be problematic to take over Africa, you only take over North America.
Right, yeah.
And
Good.
so it actually will have kind of a borderline 4X element where you know you take over states or territories and you you have to actually manage your budget or for like you know the lesser hench people and so you have to like rob banks and stuff or whatever you know rob Fort Knox to pay them and so it's like just kind of working out how your money depletes and whatever will be sort of a pain in the ass and
Fun.
um, these are like rules light games where there really are only like 5 rules and so you have to be careful about how you choose them you know.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. That sounds very fun. I do love we love to serve an evil woman. We love to serve an evil mistress and fucking conquer the world. Conquer North America. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
but you know, American exceptionalism. America is the world. So, um,
Yeah, yeah, of course. Um,
but what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, actually, the extreme strong female characters piece
mhm.
from New Dogma that we were talking about. That kind of is like, uh, uh, um, sorry, I had a brain fart. I just saw Zygmunt Fotep's comment.
It's okay.
uh, the extreme strong female characters piece that is kind of like a mission statement for evil and take over the world because it's like this sort of weird bizarro genre fiction stuff
Mhm.
like needs to have more of a dyke energy, more of a evil woman energy, you know, needs to have more of a that kind of presence in it, so that's what I'm rectifying here.
Yeah, we need a woman who's like a nuclear bomb in a in like a latex catsuit.
Yeah, yeah, because I'm thinking like you know destroy all humans. I'm thinking of like the Venture Bros, you know what I mean? Like that kind
Yeah,
of just like yeah. Um, so
I already posted that. I don't know why I went to post it again. It's like, oh, I posted this. Um, Also, what did I just do? I feel like I just dragged something. Okay, that's fine. Where everything's normal. The stream is completely regular. uh, hell yeah. Um, posted. Oh yeah. Do you want to talk a bit about the Trans Erotica Bundle 2025 situation? Because I think that's kind of ties into some stuff that's affected both of us
yeah,
in different ways.
so I've organized a couple of bundles. Um, I can't remember the exact number. Between all the bundles I've organized, I think I've the gross is at least $15,000. It's probably a bit higher
Mhm.
than that. So you know, between for me and the people that I've had in the bundles, I've made us all a good chunk of change. I'm very proud of that. That's kind of like the big accomplishment in my life.
Yeah.
But so uh, I, I did I did the queer erotica bundle that went live earlier this year in like January, which was organized actually quite a bit earlier than that.
Hmm.
And I was then like, well, let me do another one in the second half of the year, but it needs to have a different name to not interrupt the annual aspect of the queer erotica bundle. So it was going to be the mature queer art bundle.
Yeah.
Um, and anyways, I was very lackadaisical about the pace of organizing that bundle. I wanted to get 50 people, and I had gathered about 20. And then the neo-Nazis in Australia, the collective shout people,
Yeah.
uh, apparently, like, 1,000 or 2,000 of them sent emails to PayPal or MasterCard, whoever, and they were just chomping at the bit to start banning stuff on Steam that had, quote unquote, objectionable content. So the Steam takedown stuff happened, and I contacted everyone in the server for organizing the bundle that I'd made. And I said, hey guys, let's just cut this in half to 25 people and um, just get this to go live as soon as possible. And so we tried working as fast as we could. And sure enough, I thought, we would maybe have like 2 months. I didn't think it would really happen as fast as it did. It was less than a week later. And it just wasn't safe to do the bundle anymore.
Yeah. I was there for a lot of that, and that was rough. Not on your end, to be clear. Just yeah, it was a bad time for everything to run into that. Um, yeah, it's been tough. I saw I was watching Anna Valen's stream the other day, and she was talking about like how, and I don't know if I feel this way, but she was saying like she thinks that we might not we might not be able to rely on itch being around in the near future, which I know is like kind of alarmist, but I think it's an interesting subject. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that.
Well, um, as far as itch like existing, I think they have a very good business because
Yeah,
essentially they make a cut of profit off of every transaction on their store. Um, so they're I think doing okay. As far as hosting not safe for work content, then
hmm,
definitely that's a more precarious thing.
yeah,
And uh, yeah, I actually something I've wanted to do for a while. Because actually gets not every purchase gives itch money because you can set your revenue share of itch to 0%,
yeah,
um, and they passive aggressively make your back end pages black and white if you do that. And so I actually had been planning on doing this, and then the payment processor stuff happened, and I thought that I would be dogpiling if I did this, but I've wanted to make a video where I just say, hey, Itch, I'll give you, 30% of my money for the next 2 years if you do these things.
yeah.
Um, and for starters, they need to take care of revenue sharing between creators. Like, it's ridiculous that this is not a feature.
It is
But
pretty absurd.
it's been a requested feature literally as long as itch.io has been a website. Um, and if I could get money doing soundtracks for indie games and stuff, I'd be doing soundtracks all the time. Um, but I can't ask for a reasonable upfront cost from like a trans person who is like a neat. So
Yeah,
it doesn't make sense for me to do the work as work for hire. Um, and I had more demands. I can't remember them off the top of my head right now. But yeah, they. Oh yeah, they need to get payouts to like a week or less.
Yeah, they gotta speed it up.
Yeah, they need to hire more people because, like, look, I really appreciate that itch wants to maintain an indie feel. They want to be small and not lose their ethos, but it's just ridiculous. And like, if you email itch.io with a problem, who knows when they'll ever respond to you, you know?
Yeah, the lack of communication has been one of the hardest parts about the whole thing for me. It's just like so much stuff happened, and I'm not even talking about like the initial communication. I mean more like when I asked them about why my game was down, they like the actual response that I got was first like here's the new rules, and second like uh your game is back up. Sorry, like
Yeah.
no, and on some like that is on some level helpful because it gets you like I kind of got away with being like uh you know like the thing that I said was, hey, can you like tell me exactly what the review process was for this? Did anyone read my game? And they could not answer that. So
Yeah.
I'll take that as long as it lets people play my game. You can be indie
And
and also competent. Yeah.
what was I? Yeah, I remember this being a little bit of a concession at Chego got that you could have stuff with objectionable content. I keep saying objectionable content because I don't want uh, some sort of AI thing to hear me say the I word.
Wait, I
But
word.
let me just text it to you.
Okay.
Um,
Oh
I
yeah,
don't know
yeah,
if
yeah. Hey,
I don't know if
you can play Crusader Kings 3 on here. I feel like you can talk about incest.
yeah, okay. um, but what was I gonna say? Yeah, like I remember it being a concession that Itch got from PayPal that the stuff could be on the website as long as it was free, as in you
Hmm.
can't even do pay what you want. But gosh, that would have gone a lot better if they just had everything that would have gotten banned set to pay to free, um, instead of being removed for sale entirely.
Yeah, I just
Uh,
think that I think that the payment processors really like I I think that they I was gonna do a
they,
really dumb bit about how it makes them look bad because they want the incest porn so bad that they want it to be free, but that is kind of using the enemy's weapon. So I decided not to do that bit. I pivoted away from it. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, it's been tough.
yeah, and I have one more Itch feature request.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, first of all, I need to be faster organizing bundles, but relatedly, I really hate their bundle slider thing. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. Um,
I think I do.
so when you make a bundle, they give you like all these sliders for each person in the bundle. Um, and basically, like, if you change one person's percentage of how much money they make, the upper sliders automatically adjust to make the number an even 100%.
Okay.
And so if you want some people to make more money and some people to make less money, it's like pretty much impossible to do that because of these sliders. Because you can't just type in the thing and have it confirm if it matches 100% or not. Um, and that's just like such a unforced error that they just need to fix. So
Yeah,
yeah,
makes sense.
yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
I think
and
those are good
that's enough.
good requests.
That, that's all I have to say about things that Xiaomi needs to get off their asses and do.
Fair. Do you want to talk about the news? I mean, not really the news. It's a news. You want to talk about one news?
Yeah, the Impressionist Games piece.
Yeah, let me.
You know who's really good at Impressionist games is Dana Carvey.
it's come on. Yeah, we're gonna be talking about J Dragon's Expressionist Games manifesto blog piece. I don't know what were your. I feel like people probably already know my thoughts about this. How did you feel about this piece?
Yeah, so I have mixed feelings. So basically the part that I really loved is this idea that you have these rules within the continuity of the game, within the story world of the game, where it's like, don't do this because that would just be a bad idea within the fiction, you know?
Yeah,
Um, and these are obviously very like punitive rules. They're serious things. The the offer links to a really good piece about someone playing a game designed by the D&D people about being a cowboy. Um,
hmm.
and it's kind of like, listen, in an old west town, you don't do this and you don't do that because it's lawless and people will just shoot you without any repercussions. The Boot Hill one, I think.
Yeah, this one.
Yeah, so that's the one, yeah. And so that's a really cool thing where it's like a lot of games are like that, like if you do something in, even a simulationist game or whatever, very far from story game territory, like those repercussions exist, but to really embed it more so into the thing and to have it be a conscious consideration for the designer, I think is really cool. Um, and definitely for the Gangster Dykes game, that will be something to think about because I mean, I think, you know, I mean, in the world of The Sopranos, which is a big inspiration for that game, there aren't really any women in the mafia because they're all misogynists, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
And the show sort of, I don't know if this was a response to anything or if it was just something that came up, but like there is at one point a woman who's trying to get power um, in the mob because I guess she's related to a guy who died or something, and she pretty much immediately just gets killed in like 2 episodes, and uh, it's like, yeah, that's kind of how it would go. Like,
right.
so it's sort of like for a gangster dice game, it's like, yeah, it has to be about maneuvering inside of a very toxic space, or else it's just like there's no sense of realism to it. And so that's cool, you know.
Yeah,
Uh, but then the part where it's like all of the rules have to be negotiable. So even like this is the way I interpreted it. Like even very just simple mechanical things like skill checks or whatever. It's like I think it just make it very simple to understand what the like action resolution is, because I don't think that needs to be something that the players mess with. You know what I mean?
yeah. Well, I think part of it is supposed to be that an expressionist game would be a game of rules that are at least like an expressionist game could be a game that or and then probably will be right a game whose rules primarily simulate the sort of social world of the characters. Um,
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's not really a secret because the author mentions uh, OSR in the piece, but it actually did strike me that this is kind of a very OSR ethos similar thing. I mean, of course, OSR games a lot of the times, some of them, not all of them, do have like persuasion checks that you can do, which is against the thing discussed here. But I mean, a lot of like, you know, um, goblins, have emotions and that kind of stuff. Like, yeah.
yeah, I think that there's a part of this that for me also that's about like I think Jay was talking a bit about this on the web on Blue Sky, which I hate. I hate that the web is now unless you're some kind of pervert who lives on some other site, the web is like the website where the people you know go on to do things. But
Yeah.
I Jay was talking a bit about like understanding this partially as a design philosophy, partially as a thing that a game can be, but like more crucially a lens, like and or a critical lens. And I think that is probably like the thing that I find it most interesting as. I was because I definitely had the reaction when I first read this, like in the first few moments, and I think this is a reaction that I have very often when I read uh, something that is about like a type of game where I'm like, "Aw, but my games don't do that."
Yeah.
And like that is not what a vlog like this, and that is not what a vlog like this is asking you to do. And I also think that like a lot of the people who I'm seeing on Blue Sky who are mad about this article have not killed that part of their brain yet. You know,
Yeah.
you can't just read something. You have to feel like something is uh, justifying and empowering your personal design philosophy. Um,
Yeah.
and it's not like that, you know.
Yeah. Like, and you know, I mean, with Goth Witches, that's a game that takes place in a school, right? So, yeah, definitely. When I do the revision of that game at some point in 2047, thinking about breaking rules that exist in the story world, that'll be the thing. So this is like a very, I mean, even if you don't agree with most of the piece, there's a lot of stuff to take away from this. You know?
Yeah, and I think that's kind of like the thing about TTRPG blogs. I think a funny thing about like I'm vaguing about this reaction because like I don't want to point out specific people because I think a lot of them are uh what do I say about this? Uh some people who have been very rancid to me and people I care about in the past are being like shitty about this blog is what I'll say on Blue Sky. And I don't want to
Yeah,
give them too much you know, too much gunpowder. But I think that like part of the reaction to this is a failure to like engage with critical work, you know, from within the space in the way that like people in most other mediums manage to. Like I think even in video games, people don't see a blog that's like here's our approach to storytelling and are like, are you telling me that my games are bad because I don't use this?
yeah,
um,
yeah. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of different ways to do things, and it's not like I mean, you can think it's stupid, but you don't have to really tell anyone
yeah,
that.
yeah, you can just fucking calm down and have fun.
Yeah,
Have a little sip of a drink or something. Chill.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's. I'm trying to think of anything else I want to say. Do you have anything else you'd like to say about this?
Uh, no, not really.
Hell yeah. Um,
Yeah.
I'm excited to see more stuff in this vein. I mean, I know that Jay tends to hop around a bit, but it would be fun to see some of these points clarified. Um,
Yeah.
I do think that is like a part of this that I'm interested in. I also hmm, how do I say this? Because I'm certainly guilty of this thing. Um, I was I saw that Seda, a friend of the show, was talking about how like manifestos as a like mode of blogging can be sometimes a little bit like sometimes less useful than they could be just because they are um like they're structured around professing a big idea to you and
Yeah.
not like conversing freely about an idea. Um, and I do think there is something to be said for that. Like, um, I, I mean, it's part of why I have the show. Is I really like, and I really see the value in really open conversation about like TTRPG subjects instead of just kind of shouting them from a soapbox. As fun as it is to get on the soapbox, as I'm kind of doing right now. Yeah.
Yeah. I think in the TTRPG space, there are a lot of kind of arbitrary distinctions and stuff.
Hmm.
I think there's a whole space of games that kind of isn't good enough for the simulation people in terms of like having rules, and for the like story games crowd, they're too traditional, and that's kind of like, you know, that's that's gosh, I can't remember what this guy's name is, but that's like, Ninja Burger Second Edition and Truth and Justice and like the West End Games stuff. So
Hmm.
like Ghostbusters and um, Star Wars, the original Star Wars game, and I mean, really, it's even kind of like Fate, but Fate
Yeah.
sort of has a bit more recognition, or just kind of bridged those eras of game design. Uh, and so yeah, but it's kind of just like yeah, it's sort of like an arbitrary ignorance or dismissal of that whole thing.
Yeah, I think in sort of trying to classify games, we do sometimes run into this like inability to see the things between or apart, and I do think that
Yeah,
like it's
it's
important.
trad or story.
It's either trad or it's story. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Um. Well, we have any emails. Let me. Uh. This might be an early one. I'm honestly a little sleepy, but not sleepy, but like uh. I may just want to chill. Let me see what we got. Actually, do you want to take five and then we'll come back?
Sure.
Hell yeah! All right, send emails to darling. Send questions to darlinghumaneclipse@gmail.com for myself and Sabrina. Or simply send them in chat. We'll be back in like 5 minutes. How's about? All right. See you all at like 51. Bye. Hello, everybody. We are back with more Dovecote with SabrinaTVBand. Uh, it's time. I'm gonna look at the mail. Let's see if we got anything. If we don't have anything, please feel free to ask questions in the Twitch chat. But let's see. I have not at all. We do have things that we'd like to talk about. Yeah, I don't know. You have a couple more topics that you wanted to chat about. What do you want to start with?
Uh, I guess the books that I'm planning on doing.
Yeah, tell me and folks about those books.
Yeah, so one of them is they're both kind of early in development. One of them is going to be called LA Book. Um, well, that's the working title,
Hmm.
and it's essentially about a bunch of weird rich people who live in LA.
Hmm.
And so it takes place in I think 2013 is what I'm going to settle on, and it's kind of about people who exist at the B level of entertainment, you know.
Okay.
So kind of small movies that cost like maybe $10 or $15 million to make, and the plot will kind of revolve around the production of two or three different movies that are being produced by the same studio. Um, and there's some cool stuff. I'll talk about a little bit of the premise if you want.
Yeah, go ahead,
Um,
please do.
so there's going to be these are all subject to change, but there's going to be a this lesbian couple where there's a private investigator and a lawyer, uh, and they sort of find an egg who's like 20 years old, and they help her transition and kind of make her into their person who does their dirty work. So she becomes like a person who steals documents and like performs hits,
Hell yeah.
and she lives in their pool house or whatever.
Fun.
um, and this trans girl starts dating an actress on the side with like a weight gain fetish. Um, and she's like a goth actress who appears in horror movies.
Okay.
Uh, and there's going to be like a director who's inspired by Brian De Palma, um, who like kind of is not highly regarded the way he should be,
Hmm.
and he's sort of directing a movie just to work for the sake of working. And so, All New Slow Moon has a lot of music wonk stuff, uh, and this is going to have a lot of film, entertainment industry wonk stuff in it.
Hell yeah. And then the third, the third Slim TV band project to complete the Trinity will be, I guess you'll need a book one and you'll need a gaming one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was working on a novella about uh, girls who play Smash Bros. Melee, but I decided it was dumb and stupid, so I never finished
Huh.
it.
I feel like there's a lot to be said about a girl who plays Smash Bros. Melee. I feel like.
um, it was sort of an early attempt at doing, I guess, trans literary fiction, embarrassing
Okay.
cringe.
I feel like if you get enough T-girls in a room and they're all into Smash Melee enough, like there will be an attempt at like cannibalism. Like I don't mean like one of them is going to try and eat each other. I mean like one of them is going to consensually cut a thin strip of flesh off the other, cook it, and eat it as like a dare.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't tell you one thing about that space. It's going to smell really bad.
Oh, it's gonna smell god awful in there. It's
Yeah.
gonna reek of cum and farts and Cheetos and
Uh, quote
horrible.
unquote girl dick.
Quote unquote girl stink, yeah.
Um, Yeah, but the LA book's gonna have like 50 plot lines, so
Fuck
that's
yeah.
kind of part of what makes it complicated. Another plot line. This is a really spicy one.
Oh
Um,
shit. Oh, we got questions.
oh, okay. Let's see the question, and then I can continue.
Okay. We have three questions from Duck. Um,
Oh, sweet. Book is cool. I
we
like
got a
that.
big load of heaping load of questions. The first question is, what's the most recent RPG you read that surprised you, and how did it shake your expectations? And what set your expectations before even reading? Oh,
Um, I would have to look at Cannibal Halfling because that would probably be the last RPG I read.
hmm.
Because I'm going to be honest, like I don't read as many games as I should. It kind of I don't play enough games, and so I don't read enough about them. Yeah, I couldn't really say, to be honest. I guess I mean, and this is me talking about something that I literally did a year ago, but I was really impressed by Smallville, uh, the Cortex Prime game.
Okay.
Uh, it like it has a really interesting conceit of making like a web of interactions before you even start playing the game, and
Hmm.
um, Smallville was designed by the Fate guys, or at least some of the Fate guys. Well, actually, I might be misremembering. Like two people who are credited as the designers of Fate and Cam Banks, who like did a lot of Fate related things, but wasn't one of the original designers, if I'm remembering correctly. Um, and so it's really interesting to see like the Fate-isms and the Cortex Prime games.
I love the cover for
Uh,
this game. If this is the game that you're talking about,
yeah, it's the CW show, and so it just
holy
has that
shit.
really awful looking photography.
I gotta make a game with a cover like this.
Yeah, if you go on some stock photo website, you can probably make something that looks like a CW show.
Yeah, fuck. God, that's awesome. I love
Yeah.
that.
Fun fact, one of the actresses in that show was part of like a human sex trafficking cult.
Holy shit. Oh, Nexium or another one?
Smallville.
No, but
Oh,
the cult Nexium.
what's the name of the cult? I don't know. I try not to think about it.
Fair, yeah, real. Um,
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Duck is
Um,
asking what set your expectations before you read it. I mean, the fact that it's the Smallville RPG, I feel like is probably part of it.
a lot of people that are very smart said it was a good game, so that let me look past the cover.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, that set my expectations. It made me think it was good.
yeah.
Uh, taking one of my own games, which one mechanical element you
Oh, and
feel the game could benefit
sorry,
from being
can I
cut?
answer the question as well?
Oh, sure. Sorry.
Okay.
Uh,
Uh, yeah, let me, I think I'm gonna go for a game of Mechadonics by, Titanomachy, Lex, because I was expecting this to be a lot more like mech crunch type game, and it was a lot more like fucking your girlfriend in real life type game, and I was pleasantly surprised by this. And I think kind
yeah.
of the history of mechs in teacher RPGs really made me think that this was going to be more robust mechanically. Although I should have seen that it said it was an 8-page PDF, and possibly suspected that this would be the direction it went in. Um,
Yeah.
but I don't think I read the itch page before reading the book.
Yeah.
Uh, Next question from Duck.
Okay.
Taking one of your own games, what is one mechanic slash element you feel the game could benefit from being cut? A kill your darlings type thing.
Yeah. Uh, Gosh, it's been a while since I looked at Goth Witches, but I had the thought that the entire game. My plan for Goth Witches eventually is to make a second edition, which is more has more, I guess, like fatisms or whatever in it. But the thing would be both games would really combined have a total page count of maybe like I don't know 100 pages.
Hmm.
Um, and so I'd like to have the first and second edition both be in the same book. Uh, so it's like you choose which flavor of the game you want to play. Um, so, but
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
it's really it's hard for me to choose like one mechanic. It's just sort of like there are two philosophies that I both kind of like, and they're at odds. You can't really do them both at the same time necessarily.
I think that I'm choosing to pick one that I could remove, but I won't. And I do think that is probably Deaths from Sapphic World, which is a mechanic that is like uh almost like a mechanic that is not tracked on the character sheet, but is instead tracked on the GM sheet that like represents the debts you hold to people in the world, and it is like explicitly kind of David Graeber pilled. Um, like it is so fucking masturbatory that uh, like I cannot imagine anyone with any good sense recommending that I keep it in the game. However, it will not be leaving Sapphic World. It will remain in that book. Um, oh God. Okay. Did I play Sapphic World with Debt, or is that a new thing? I don't recall. I don't recall when you ran Sapphic World. It's been a bit. Um, our third question from Duck is inflation with liquid slash gas versus weight gain with food. Which is the better fetish? Or if you can't decide, then which is more environmentally friendly?
Okay. Well, the second part is very easy to answer. So you see, helium is of course very rare. If
Hmm.
that clip from Smiling Friends is to be believed, there will be no more helium in like 30 years, which is
Uh-huh.
scary. You know? And so, and but the thing is, you have to think about the environmental impact of the meat industry, um, because cows fart and create methane, which is a greenhouse gas, which sounds like a joke, but it's true. And of course, you have to feed these animals, which is like an extra step as opposed to just eating the vegetable, you know. Uh, and you have to, of course, clear land for grazing, which is often done illegally and using fire and stuff and whatever. So, um, like, yeah, definitely the environmentally friendly way is to feed someone with food using like vegetables and stuff. A pescatarian or a vegan diet even. Um, and the answer to the first part, inflation with liquid slash gas versus weight gain with food. I think weight gain with food because it's real, it's tangible, you can touch it.
Hmm. I for me, I think inflation with comflation, I'll take. But
Yeah.
otherwise, I'm interested in weight gain with food. I some have described me. I don't know if I'm a weight gain fetishist, but I like it's nice when a woman has a delicious meal. I think and her tummy get like and she gets a little fatter because of it. But it
Yeah.
takes so long. Do you will you not love her through the process? Will you not love her while her tummy gets big? I say this
Every
having
part,
done this, having made a woman
every
fatter.
every step of the way, cherish it and such. Like women are beautiful in all sizes.
Take a picture every time you feed her cake or ice cream. Make it last longer.
The thing about having a pescatarian or vegan vegetarian diet is the food is healthier, so it's more tantric. It takes longer,
That's
um,
right.
and there's also more volume of food to get the same results. So I think it's actually the ideal. It's better. It's better.
Getting feederism edged by my beautiful pescatarian wife. Yeah, that's what it's all about. You literally have a
Yeah.
feeder character in Sapphic World. That's true. Listen, there are a lot of Sapphic World characters who represent fetishes I don't necessarily have. There's a foot character. I'm not really into feet. It's
I'm I'm
yeah.
still waiting for you to commission me to draw a bunch of fat women
I
for Sapphic World.
I want to. I really do. It would be awesome. Um, I think it would be so awesome and cool. Hi, your dad, the squid. Um, hell yeah. Uh, Oh yeah, I am curious. I want to hear your thoughts on this because you had mentioned one of the things you wanted to talk about is like trans femme art and like commodified styles. I'm curious what you mean by that.
Yeah, you know, I feel like there's this issue where people are really up for like five different things.
Hmm.
Um, they want stuff that looks like anime, uh, and they want kind of, I guess, the same handful of kinks. And it just feels like it's very hard to sort of overcome that kind of stuff. And this is definitely, I'm willing to admit this is a sour grapes thing, right?
Yeah,
Um, but I feel like it is kind of just, we're all working outside of any kind of commercial consideration. So, well, that's not necessarily true actually, because we need to make money to live, right? But we're not. No one's telling us what to do, so we can do whatever we want. But it feels like people really don't capitalize on that enough. Um, and the exploitation discourse has been never ending ever since it started. Um, and the thing that really got to me recently is like I've been seeing people who've never really had an interest in like mech anime starting to write mechsploitation, and it's like okay, so now people are doing it because they want to attract an audience. You know what I mean?
I think I come from almost the opposite position on this issue. I read a really great article the other day or a blog the other day by the person who wrote Anti-Plug, which is a exploitation piece,
I read the same
talking.
piece.
Yeah, how did you feel about that piece?
Um, you know, this is mean, but the part that I thought was really funny was she was like, "Listen, people say that exploitation is like an Armored Core 6 thing, and that's not true. It's actually a trailer of Armored Core 6 thing." Um,
Hmm.
and I was like, "That's not the compelling argument you think it is. That it's inspired by the trailer of the game and not the game itself."
Well,
But
yeah, sorry.
I mean, like, look, I mean, if you want to say that the genre doesn't have a huge creative debt to a thing, like that's understandable. But I just thought the way the argument was worded, I just thought was amusing. But
Yeah. Well,
um,
I think that the article acknowledges that fact by saying that like this was this was the ignition on a a puddle of gasoline that had been laid by a lot of other influences that specifically Caladora had um,
yeah,
kind of consumed and processed over the years. Um, I don't know. I'm always like I'm always so cautious about looking at a thing and saying that people are making work for the wrong reasons because I think that like um I think that like there's a lot to be gained from people who are outside of a genre or like not necessarily interested in a genre writing and making work inside of it. I think there's a lot to be gained from like aficionados and experts and knowers
yeah,
in that genre making work. So I don't know. I hear your concern on that issue, but I felt like I
but,
should just say my thoughts on it.
yeah. Duck has asked what exploitation is. It's a essentially you have like the kind of I guess genre criteria is you have like a handler character who like is a woman who wears a leather trench coat who like tells the other character who's a hound what to do, and the hound is like a brainwashed um, trans girl who pilots a mech.
Yeah, I I think that the other point that I think is valuable in that article is the point that like it is the like we are doing the XKCD thing, which is why Duck had to ask what
Yeah,
exploitation is, right? Like
I
we
mean, like
are yeah.
I'm not really sure how like I don't know how like niche all of this is because I'm like, okay, so there is more like trans erotica out there, but like
Hmm.
the way I see it, like the vast expanse outside of like this corner of the internet is like basically just the sort of heterosexual forced feminization stuff where like I don't know, it's like vanilla sissy stuff. Like I don't know. And so I'm like, if there's like another scene that's like exploitation that we don't even know about, that's like equally genre-y and whatever, I have no idea what it would even be.
Yeah. I would have assumed there's
There
some
is,
sexualizing of the robot. Yeah, there's some qualities of that.
um, but yeah, I mean, what was I? Um, Gosh, and talking also about commodified stuff like the visual art um, leaves a lot to be desired for me. Not talking about exploitation, just talking about in general. Um, I remember I was in the server a while ago. This was a few years ago, and like uh, basically people would post like an anime girl with like a 2 foot wide thigh gap, and
Uh-huh.
massive tits, that are like 5 times the size of the rest of her body, whatever. And then you post like a realistically proportioned fat woman, and they just it get like everyone just ignores it. Um,
Yeah.
or just like even like a realistically proportioned person in general, and it's like this is gosh, what have we come to?
Yeah, I definitely agree on that front. I think like on the one hand, I have a lot of respect for folks kind of exploring, you know, exploring whatever turns them on. But on the other hand, I'm like, we gotta. where's the meat on her bones? Get some damn meat on her bones. Get her some melanin too. Holy shit! Some of these like, uh, I don't know. I think that there is an issue in some in some trans femme art spaces of kind of like you know a machine that's kind of feeding back into itself, and the output is skinny white girls.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
It's like Homestuck.
yeah, but yeah, I really just I guess would like to see a wider range of influences in the artwork because it really is basically like I guess uh, trendy anime and video games is sort of the stuff that inspires a lot of things.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's like, hey, let's kind of bring in like I don't know movies from the '70s or whatever. Let's bring in some like old comic books. Let's try and mix it up.
Yeah, you gotta have some pervert inspirations. I definitely agree. As a person who I like to think that my inspirations are like kind of weird and eclectic. Um,
Yeah,
you know,
you know,
a huge amount
things
of
of the
fucking
culture.
Sapphic World is like me, me like reading reading some like medieval history analysis and kind of combining that with like uh, uh, some of my favorite like concept fantasy shit. A well-read pervert makes all the difference. That's right, sick. Absolutely. Is
Um,
bring. Oh, sorry.
is,
Go ahead.
is bringing back the same old material or really mixing it up? Well, here's the way I'd kind of explain it: is um, I think Venture Bros is a distinct thing from the like Agents of Shield comics and GI Joe and like Doctor Strange and all the things that were part of being in it. Um, that inspired it. It's a completely new creation, and the Quentin Tarantino pastiche stuff is like a huge argument people have been having for like the last 35 years. But I mean, if you look at Pulp Fiction, it really is people having like these borderline inane conversations for like 2.5 hours. And that really was uh, that was kind of a novel thing at the time, but there are a lot of very tangible influences in that movie. But I mean, to say that Pulp Fiction is like similar to like a blaxploitation film or whatever, I mean, not really, you know. So uh, yeah, like mixing things up uh, is definitely all work is in dialogue if ever works. So if you don't try to have any influences, I mean, what are you even gonna do? Um,
Yeah, and I think there's
and I
also
mean,
something. Oh, sorry.
if you're going back further into the past, you're not looking at the same five seasonal anime or whatever, so that everyone else is looking at in the present.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of like benefit to going to like no genre has a root, right? But there is a benefit to like trying to find the classics and like going from there. Me and Lilith have been watching Cowboy Bebop recently, which is a show that has all of these kind of genre elements of like pulp and western and samurai and some like science fiction from what then was like 10, 20 years ago, um, and like it's not a replication of something that it saw in a mecha anime from last year, right? Like it is, uh, it's not trying to do something that is like so recent as to be something so recent that is already an amalgam of other things. So I think that there's a lot of utility. There's a lot of utility and like and creativity to be found in drawing from a very wide pool of things that are in their own right kind of inspired and insightful and like uh, that were when they were released like kind of original. And I know that's like, as I said, hard to find those things because in everything is kind of influenced by everything else. The the great work of humanity is as you said kind of one long fucking conversation. But
Yeah,
there
I
are
mean,
like strikeout points in some ways.
you know, gosh, I mean, if you look at Flash Gordon and you look at Barbarella and you look at the original Star Wars, those are all literally the exact same story, but completely different, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
um, and back to the exploitation thing. I remember I interviewed Callie maybe like I don't know 8 months ago or something, um, and I asked what's the difference between exploitation and human domestication guide.
Hmm.
Um, because Callie's a human domestication guide hater, you know. Um, and I think she said, should we pull up the exact answer?
Yeah, sure. Let me. I think I have
I'll find
Nilasma
it.
up somewhere.
Okay, here it is. Um,
I got it. Uh, okay. Let me read this really quick. I'll read it out to the audience so that they know what this is. Okay. So you asked, the transerotic sphere is very susceptible to an idea emerging and then receiving a ton of imitators. In recent memory, it happened with Empty Spaces and then Human Domestication Guide, and now the Mexploitation movement. Where's the line between a group of like-minded people enjoying something together and writers being too derivative? Callie replies, drawing the line is tough. Too derivative is really in the eye of the beholder, after all. For me, really, it's the point where the space becomes largely disinterested in, or largely hostile to, new ideas and presentations. The point at which it all just becomes a snake eating its own tail. People want to write more of exactly what they read, and read more of exactly what they write. Obviously, in practice, that's a lot murkier than the abstract. There are always going to be some people pushing boundaries in any scene, but I suppose it's about looking at the overall picture, taking the average temperature, etc.
Yeah. Um,
Hmm.
I don't know. Does it beat the? It does feel hypocritical to me.
How so?
I don't think it's really that much different from Human Domestication Guide. The difference to me is with the Domestication Guide stuff. There's a kind of understanding that all the stories are in continuity with at least the original story. So
Yeah.
they're all basically fanfics, and I think that's the really kind of the only distinction. Um, because I think it's just a very hyper specific genre. So they all kind of do have like you have like this sort of gritty aspect of like the I don't know, the heroine chic trans girl and her like dirty mech, and then you have the handler.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
yeah, and I
Okay.
think the piece you mentioned, the piece we both read by the anti-plug offer, um, it's not a good thing when people talk about like the vitality and the importance of of their thing. It's like it's just portentous.
Yeah, I don't remember the exact wording. I read it during lunch. But yeah, I suppose like I am tempted to agree with Kelly's point here in the sense that um, well, first of all, I don't necessarily think that you asked her whether those are necessarily different things, but or what the difference is. But
I tried not to make the question too rude.
yeah, that's fair. I do think that like there's an element of in her saying like the thing is about uh it's about like the audience's reaction to the work. It's about like wanting to write more of the same thing and wanting to read more of the same thing. And I think about how open the audience and the scene broadly was to Prelate Cult's Myrmidon, which is like a very different work, not only in the sense that it is a like what do you call it? Uh frickin' not only in the sense that it has like a different aesthetic, it's like very communist and it is like very interested in kind of posing these characters um, in kind of terms of ideology, in terms of mythology. It has some really like harsh elements. It's not interested in the sort of hypnosis process, quote unquote, being clean. It wants it to be like full piss and blood and vomit. It is also like very funny. It is Catch-22 esque in the sense that it is a very silly piece. And so I guess that's kind of where I look at I look at exploitation, and I'm not necessarily so offended by stuff that might be I suppose considered derivative necessarily, because I think that there's still a lot of openness in that space for work that is like fundamentally different. Um, and also, I think it's worth saying that like Prolit Cult has seen a lot of. I've been seeing like a lot of people excited for work that is not exploitation from Prolit Cult. I've seen a lot of people being excited about work that is not exploitation from Cali. Um,
Yeah. And
uh,
I do want to say, because I really, I don't want to be like a asshole or seem rude, because I would consider myself like an acquaintance of Callie's,
mhm.
even a friend. The way I'm gonna put it this way is like, Francis Ford Coppola and George Lucas are friends, but I don't know how
Yeah,
crazy Francis Ford Coppola is about Star Wars. If you're picking up what I'm putting down.
yeah, I hear you. That's real.
Yeah, because I mean, I did that interview because I've only interviewed two people, because those are the two people whose work I've read the most, and
Yeah.
like I can really do a full career retrospective with them. Um, and so,
Thou hast
uh,
journeyed far.
kind of infer what you will from that.
Yeah. Oh shit, Marcy, thank you for the raid. I was considering raiding you, which means okay. I think we might actually raid out actually, because I think that might do it for us. But thank you for the raid, Marcy. I hope you had fun playing Deadlock and Princess Game. I don't know what that is. Anyways, thank you so much for being here, Sabrina. Is there anything else you want to plug before we head out?
Well, yeah. I mentioned the Patreon, so I'd like to kind of, but I didn't really say what's in it. So yeah, I post a new chapter or short story. I try to do it at least once every 1 or 2 weeks, usually once a week, but it might slow down a bit because the book that I've been serializing just ended. And I also try to do a sort of nonfiction piece, so like media criticism or whatever, like every once a week or 1.5 weeks. So the nonfiction tier is $1.50, and if you want to also get the porn, that's $3. For $6, you can make me watch a movie or watch the first 2 hours of a TV show, and I'll write at least 1,000 words about it.
Fuck yeah, that's some deals right there.
Yeah, and listen, that $6 tier, if I ever get more popular, that's going to get a lot more expensive, and so this is the time to capitalize on that.
Getting
So,
early.
yeah, and also I host via Yuri Jam every year on itch.io, and that's going to happen in like 15 days.
Someone get me a Silverhawks essay? Like, what's Silverhawks again? Silverhawks. What is this? Oh, okay, this is some, like, Wait, oh, do you mean, like... Silverhawks? Oh, you mean the weird not Thundercats. Okay. Yeah. I see. Awesome.
Okay, well, hey, listen, Jump Drive PR, whatever the last part of that name is.
Project.
If join my Patreon for just $6, I'll do it. And you know what? If you are only a member of the $6 tier for 1 month, and then you lower to the $3 tier after you get your Silverhawks piece, I won't be offended. So
Hell yeah! Actually, JD, I think you would really enjoy Sabrina's work. You two are kind of, I think, similarly aughts brained in a way. I think you enjoy Sabrina's work quite a bit. All right. Well, we're gonna raid out to Sophie Baby because I've been doing that pretty often for these streams. Thank you for watching, everybody. Oh, sorry.
I would just like to thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. Alrighty. Bye, everyone.
Remember, if you don't like what you see, you can change it. It's up to you, really. Goodbye, good luck, fans.